So you want to own a tea plantation. The plan is simple in your head. You buy a green hillside somewhere with good rain, you plant the bushes, you wait a few years for them to grow, and then you pluck the leaves, ship them off, and watch the money roll quietly downhill toward you. That's the plan, and it's not a bad plan. Tea is the second most consumed drink on the planet, after water, billions of cups a day, forever, no fad, no expiration on demand. Picture the image you already have in your head. Mist sitting low over rows of bushes, women moving through them with baskets, the air smelling faintly of cut grass and rain. It's a beautiful picture. It is also, almost entirely, a lie about how this business actually works. Here's the real version. A tea plantation isn't really a farming business. It's a labor logistics business that happens to grow leaves. And once you understand that one difference, everything about how this business makes money and how it quietly bleeds money starts to make sense. Here's the first thing you need to sit with. There isn't one type of tea plantation. There are at least 5, and they all wear the same muddy boots on the same green hillside. But underneath, they're completely different businesses. At the bottom, you've got the smallholder, someone farming half a hectare to maybe 2 hectares of tea, plucking with family labor, and selling raw green leaf to a nearby factory, because they can't afford to process anything themselves. Above that sits the mid-size estate, somewhere between 50 and 500 hectares, maybe with its own small factory, maybe still selling leaf, employing a permanent workforce, and living or dying on efficiency. Then there's the industrial estate, thousands of hectares, its own processing factory running day and night, its own presence at the auction, the kind of operation that shows up in a country's export statistics. Off to the side, you've got the specialty producer, a single high-grown garden making orthodox tea by hand, selling small lots of single-origin leaf for many times the commodity price. And finally, the contract grower, thousands of tiny farmers feeding one central factory under a cooperative model, which is how most of Kenya's tea actually works. 5 businesses, 1 crop, and each one is a different enterprise wearing the same green overalls. And here's the strategic question that sits underneath all of them, the one decision that shapes every other number you'll ever touch. Do you simply grow leaf and sell it to somebody else's factory, or do you build the factory and make the tea yourself? Everything downstream, your capital, your risk, your margin, your sleep, flows from that single fork. Now, you think the expensive part is the land. It isn't. Tea land, even good land, runs somewhere between $3,000 and $10,000 per hectare in most producing regions. And honestly, that's the cheap part of this whole story. Here's where the naive mental model starts to break down. The land is just the deposit. The real bill comes after. Start with clearing and terracing that hillside, because tea grows on slopes, and slopes have to be shaped and drained, and that's $1,000 to $3,000 per hectare before a single bush goes in. Then the planting itself. You're putting 10,000 to 15,000 tea bushes into every hectare, grown from cuttings in a nursery, and between the planting material and the labor to set them, you're looking at $2,000 to $4,000 per hectare. Then you wait. And this is the part nobody prices properly. A tea bush gives you nothing worth plucking for the first 3 years, and doesn't reach full yield until year 7 to 10. So you carry weeding, fertilizer, pruning, and drainage on that field for 3 to 5 years before it pays you a cent, and that upkeep runs $1,500 to $2,500 per hectare every single year while you wait. And because your workforce lives on the estate, you're often housing them too, building and maintaining labor lines, which is a cost most crops never carry. Add it all up, and you've spent $8,000 to $15,000 per hectare just to establish the field, before the factory even enters the conversation. And processing is where the real money disappears. Here's the rule you cannot negotiate with. Plucked tea leaf starts dying the moment it leaves the branch, and it has to reach a withering floor within a few hours or the batch is ruined. So either you build a factory, or you live close enough to somebody else's to make the delivery in time. A basic processing line, withering troughs, rollers, dryers, sorting equipment, starts around $500,000 and climbs into the millions for anything running at real industrial scale. And here's a number worth holding on to. It takes roughly 4.5 kilograms of fresh green leaf to make 1 kilogram of finished, sellable tea. Almost all of that weight is water, and it cooks off in the factory. So if your target is 2,000 kilograms of made tea per hectare in a year, your pluckers physically have to gather around 9,000 kilograms of raw green leaf off that same ground, by hand, leaf by leaf. Keep that number in your head, because it's about to explain everything else that follows. 2 decisions trip up almost everyone before they even plant their first row. The first is whether to finance your own factory or sell your leaf to someone else's. Build your own, and you keep the processing margin. But $1.5 million factory loan comes with a payment of $15,000 to $18,000 a month that doesn't care whether the season was dry, whether the flush was thin, or whether auction prices just fell through the floor. Sell your leaf instead, and you skip the machine entirely. But you've handed the buyer total control over your price, because your leaf is already dying in the truck bed, and they know it. The second decision is location, and it quietly determines your ceiling for the next 50 years. Tea wants steady rainfall of over 1 meter a year, spread evenly rather than dumped in a few violent months. It wants altitude, because slow growth at height concentrates flavor, and that's what the premium buyers actually pay for. It wants acidic soil, and if the pH is wrong, the bushes simply sulk, no matter what you spend fixing it. Pick a site too low, too dry, or too far from a factory, and you've locked in a business that will only ever produce bulk-grade leaf at bulk-grade prices for as long as those bushes are alive. Now here's the mechanism that actually runs this whole business, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Picture 2 identical estates, same hillside, same rainfall, same 2,000 kilograms of made tea per hectare. One of them turns a profit every year. The other slowly goes broke. The only real difference between them is how they handle the flush clock. A tea bush doesn't wait for your schedule. It pushes out fresh new growth every 7 to 14 days during the growing season. And if that flush isn't plucked on time, the leaf coarsens and the flat plucking surface of the bush distorts, sometimes taking months to recover. So you pluck on the bush's calendar, not yours, 12 to 15 rounds or more across the year, and every single round means paying an army of hand pluckers who can each gather maybe 20 to 30 kilograms of leaf a day. Run the math on that 9,000 kilogram target, and 1 hectare alone needs somewhere around 300 to 450 plucking days of labor a year. This is why labor eats 55 to 60% of total production cost in this business. Not fertilizer, not the factory. People on a clock they don't control. Now let's follow the actual money. Bulk tea sells at auction for roughly $2 to $3 a kilogram. That same tea, blended, bagged, and sitting on a supermarket shelf, sells for $20 to $40 a kilogram. The grower who carried the land for a decade, financed the factory, and paid the plucking army round after round, typically keeps somewhere between 5 and 10% of what the final drinker pays. Read that again. You do almost all of the physical work and carry nearly all of the risk, and you keep a dime on every dollar. That isn't a broken market. That's the actual business model. Because the value was never really in the leaf. It was in getting thousands of hands onto a hillside on a schedule the plant sets, and then racing that leaf to a processing floor before it spoils. Income doesn't arrive evenly either. In the warm, wet months, the bushes flush faster than your workers can keep up, and cash floods in. Then the cool or dry season hits. Growth slows to a crawl, and the money thins out, while your factory loan and permanent payroll keep arriving exactly on schedule regardless. The owners who survive treat that flush season windfall as a reserve against the lean months. The ones who don't spend it like a salary and get caught short the moment the dry season lands with a payroll due and nothing coming in. There's also a structural fork in how you sell. Stay independent and sell through the open auction, and you keep the full margin but carry all the risk of finding a buyer yourself. Join a cooperative or central factory system, the way most of Kenya's smallholders operate, and the factory processes and sells your leaf for you, but keeps a management and processing cut before your money ever reaches you. You're trading real percentage points of profit for not having to own a machine. And even selling independently, you're still paying a broker's commission at auction, warehousing fees, transport, and often a government tea levy skimmed off before you see a cent. Then there's the hidden cost nobody prices in the planting guide. Tea is something people drink directly, so every shipment gets tested for chemical residue against strict legal limits. Staying compliant costs almost nothing. Clean spray records, approved chemicals, respecting the waiting period before plucking a treated field. But fail one residue test, or lose a certification like Rainforest Alliance over a botched audit, and an entire consignment can be rejected at auction or pulled from an export order, wiping out tens of thousands of dollars in a single afternoon and quietly damaging your name, with buyers who have 100 other gardens to choose from instead. The cost of doing it right is a rounding error. The cost of getting it wrong is catastrophic. Underneath all of that sit the quiet, unglamorous recurring costs that eat the margin nobody budgeted to lose. Fertilizer alone runs several $100s a hectare every year, since tea is a heavy feeder. The factory burns fuel or electricity non-stop to wither and dry leaf, easily thousands of dollars a month even at modest scale. Pruning, transport, and equipment repairs keep chipping away at whatever's left. You can see exactly what happens when this arithmetic finally fails at a national scale. When Sri Lanka abruptly banned synthetic fertilizer in 2021, tea yields collapsed within a single season, because a starved bush simply stops flushing, and the entire country's tea export revenue fell off a cliff while every fixed cost, every loan, every payroll stayed exactly where it was. Nobody stopped wanting Sri Lankan tea. The industry just couldn't keep its costs and its output connected to each other anymore. That's the pattern that keeps repeating across this crop. Full green fields tell you nothing about whether the numbers underneath them still add up. So let's find the actual break-even. A hectare producing 2,000 kilograms of made tea, sold at an auction net of around $2.50 a kilogram after fees, brings in about $5,000 a year. Cash costs to grow, pluck, process, and transport. It usually land between $4,000 and $4,800. That leaves a real hectare somewhere between $200 and $1,000 of profit before you've serviced a single dollar of factory debt. Spread a real factory loan and permanent staff across the whole estate, and you typically need well over 100 hectares in full production just to reach zero. And tea bushes don't hold steady forever either. A few percent of the field needs replanting every year just to keep total output from quietly drifting downward. That's not growth. That's paying to stay exactly where you already are. The way out is to stop selling a commodity entirely. The same leaf that fetches $2 or $3 a kilogram in bulk can sell for $20 to $60 a kilogram as a named, single-origin, direct-to-consumer tea. One customer paying $40 for a kilogram, with your estate's name on the label, is worth 15 or 20 kilograms dumped anonymously into the auction system. The catch is that this is a branding and marketing skill, not a farming skill, and it's usually the one thing estate owners never learn. So picture the two ways an ordinary year can go. In the good year, a 100-hectare estate yields 2,200 kilograms a hectare. The auction holds around $3 a kilogram, and a small direct sales line adds a little extra on top. Revenue lands near $800,000, margins run 15 to 20%, and the owner takes home somewhere around $130,000 for the year. That's a genuinely good business. In the realistic year, nothing dramatic happens at all. A slightly dry season trims yield by 15%. The auction softens from $3 to $2.40 a kilogram. Fertilizer, fuel, and minimum wage for the pluckers all tick up, the way they do most years. None of that is a disaster. Stack it together though, and revenue slides toward $500,000, while costs barely move. And that $130,000 take-home collapses toward almost nothing. The hillside looks exactly the same in both years. The mist still rolls in every morning. Nothing about the view tells you which year you're actually living in. So if you do decide to own a tea plantation, remember what you're really signing up for. It was never about the leaf. The leaf is nearly free, and it's dying the moment it's picked. It's about moving an army of hands across a hillside on a clock the plant controls, racing that leaf to a factory before it spoils, and then selling what's left at a price somebody else sets at an auction house you'll never see. You were never really in the tea business. You were in the business of running a schedule you don't own, for a slice of the price you don't control.